Okay, I believe we are live. So welcome to Tamarah's Closet today. I have an extremely multi-talented guest with me today. And I just love multi-talented people. He's a singer, songwriter, a TV host, and he is the CEO of Canyon Star Network. So I'm super thrilled to have him with me today. He has had multiple hits, and on his latest album, Rhythm of Living, has produced 3 #1 hits, bringing him to 7 #1 hit songs. His latest venture, though, that we're going to kind of do a little bit of focus on today, which is really exciting, is launching his new global network, CSN, which is Canyon Star Network. And so we're going to be talking about that as well as his singing career. So I really want to go ahead and bring him out without further delay. So welcome, Joey Canyon, to Tamarah's Closet.
Well, Tamarah, thanks for having me on your show. And I'm going to try to live up to all of those nice accolades you said about me.
Well, there's so many, and I could have got, so I want to make sure we mention some of the famous singers that you've worked with too. There's so much to tell you about you. I knew we'd be here all day. So.
Well, I'm just a pretty blessed man to have worked with many big stars that have been on my show and remain friends of mine, and I'm just a blessed guy. So.
You really are, and I'm excited because this is my first time getting to interview a television host, so I'm very excited about that.
Well, wonderful.
I hope I live up to your expectations.
Oh, I'm sure you will. I'm sure you will.
So I want to get started because we have lots of questions. I always like to start with a little bit of background, and it's kind of to show people that because sometimes we come from parents who we don't share their same talents. And I want people to know that just because their parents didn't do something doesn't mean that they can't. Right. So I wanted to know, did you grow up in a musical family?
Let me put it this way. I grew up in a family that loved music.
Good.
I think the only musicians really in the family were myself, who does it professionally. My father played a little harmonica through the years, but not really. I'm the only one that was crazy enough to get in this business. we had music going on in the house all the time, so we were that type of musical family.
Right. Well, did either of your parents have a nice singing voice at all, or anybody in your family? Or
I think in his time, my dad thought he might have, but he didn't. My mom had a wonderful voice. I don't recall really her singing. Maybe more one of the housewife humming around and singing to the radio kind of thing. But I know that I got my voice from her because she had a wonderful voice.
Oh, that's wonderful. Now, when you were growing up, what kind of music? Lots of times we are, especially when we're really young, we're kind of listening to the music our parents listen to. What kind of music did they listen to?
I was the oldest. I'm the oldest of 6 kids. My folks are gone now, but during that time, my father was with 6 kids, was working all the time, but Sundays was his day off. And on Sunday, from the morning till the evening, you could hear music on our hi-fi, if you will, back then. And the music, his music was country music, and my mother's was the crooners of the day, the Frank Sinatras and the Tony Bennett's and that. So that was going out through the house pretty much on a Sunday.
Oh, that's great. Well, when I was at my grandparents growing up, I found some 45s of my mother's, and it was that Great Balls of Fire with Jerry Lee Lewis, I think.
That's right.
Yeah. So I said, well, she likes a little bit of rock and roll.
Yeah, well, don't lose those 45s. So.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Well, when did music start becoming a pivotal part of your life? Like, I know you got started in 20s, but when did you really start paying a lot of attention to music, I guess?
You know, I recall singing for the first time publicly in grade school, and we had some type of event. I was in third grade at the time, about 8 years old, and that had a little bit of an impact on me. But I'd always loved music, and I'd always be listening to music, the top 40 at the time. But I think really when I hit seventh grade and I started joining the choruses of the school and performing for the school in as a chorus, a full chorus of people, and through through the junior high years and taking madrigals and chorus and all of that, and learning the parts of music, the leads, the harmonies, and the various parts of vocals really had an impact on me, especially when you put it all together and you started singing as a whole, and you had some very beautiful music, very melodic, and you're hearing it come together in such a wonderful way. And I have to say that through all of those years, I had very wonderful music teachers that really, really taught from their heart, and it really had a profound effect on me musically.
Well, that's really a blessing. That's amazing. Now, when you were in school like that, did you do any acting, like with your singing, like in plays or?
I did not. I didn't start acting until later on, but I just did. I started being asked to do solo parts in these musical types of things. We did some musicals and things, and I would be doing some solos along in the chorus and these types of things. I mean, I remember distinctly doing Man from La Mancha, all of that soundtrack, The Sound of Music, and also Camelot, and all of those wonderful soundtracks and the songs that came with them, had a big effect on me.
Oh, well, all those are great. So you kind of been surrounded. I mean, you even did acting. I mean, that's just.
Yeah, the acting came along later when I moved to Colorado, and I started learning the production business from behind the camera, and then I started acting in front of the camera as well, doing some TV series. These are not very big parts, but it was the experience was great, and doing commercials and things like that. So.
Yeah, well, it's great. It's still a great experience, and I'm curious though. When you were young, what do you remember? What kind of music you were most attracted to? Did you like rock and roll or classical, or was it?
Yeah, I'll tell you a story about that. Yes, I did. I listened to rock and roll, the traditional rock and roll back then, and of course the great music of the '60s. My father was the one that introduced me to country music for the most part. He loved country music. So on Sunday, like I said, the music would be playing, the records, the LPs, the albums back then. My father liked that. My mother liked the crooner. So on the record player, every other album was okay. My dad was Hank Williams, okay, and then there was Tony Bennett, and then there was Marty Robbins, and then there was Nat King Cole, and then it's just every album that went down the stack was for my mom and then for my dad. So I was very much influenced by all of that music of that day. And so when I started writing music, it was a combination of the of the crooners and then the country music crooners of the day. So that was my big influence back in those days.
Well, that's amazing though that you were influenced by a nice variety. What would you say actually drew you into country music as far as a career choice? Like, was it your voice or?
Yeah, I didn't really, when I was raised in a small town in California, it was very country. Uh, in the geography and the topography and the people. I mean, it was a country town, a small town back then, and so there was a lot of country music going on there, and so that kind of got into my blood, I guess. Of course, I did like the rock and roll of the day and things like that, but I leaned kind of back in those times is when country rock started to kind of come in and all of that. So, I mean, I was a big Buffalo Springfield fan, you know, and those types of, Crosby, Stills and Nash, because they had a very country flavor about them, and I really like that kind of thing. So that's how that kind of came around back then.
Yeah, well, I do too. I like Crosby, Stills and Nash too. So,
Mm.
I mean, you've got a nice, diverse genre of music there in your background. That I
Yeah, I
think.
think that if you listen to my music and all of this, especially the majority of the music I've written, um, it has that total diverse flavor of country, and that's really is what came out of me, and it's what is really by design. That's who I am. That's just what came out. So.
Yeah. Well, when you started performing in your 20s, what were your parents supportive of you wanting to get into music, or did they have their own ideas of what they wanted you to do? Or
Certainly did. You have to understand that I started playing baseball and started playing guitar at 11 years old. My first love was baseball. I was a baseball pitcher,
wow.
and so I was very blessed to be a very good baseball pitcher, all Southern California back in those days, all CIF, and but through all of those years, I played guitar and sang and all of that. But when I injured my rotator cuff uh, in the off season of my last year in college, I knew my baseball career was over. So it was a tough deal to tell my folks, hey, my baseball career is over, because they really wanted me to, like myself, be a professional baseball player. So when I told them that I was going into music as my second career, which really was a blessing. I don't know of many people that could love one thing and then go ahead and love another thing and do that for a living. So that was pretty. I was very thankful about that. So it was a real tough deal and transition to go from baseball to music for my folks. Uh,
Mhm.
so many years, I mean, that was a very big struggle, like everybody knows in this business. And so my folks really didn't take grab a hold of that career of mine until I started having my first song published and on the radio. And then it was a whole different story. then then they go, oh wow, okay, this is really this is great. So that's when they kind of come around, and they 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 grew to love my career and what I was doing. So
Well, that's good. At least I know I hear a lot of musicians say their parents were kind of leery of them getting into the industry. I guess they just feel like it's tough, you know.
Well,
And
tough is an understatement.
yeah,
Tough is an understatement. And really, when you get into this business, you better know that you can sing, and you better know that you can really do it, and you better believe in yourself, and most of all, you better stick it out. You better have endurance, because if you don't have a few of those uh, um, qualities or virtues, you just won't make it. And I could count 100 people that were in this business that just fell by the way, and you just gotta hang. I didn't make it in this business until I was later on in life, and that most people are off doing something else, and I was still here trying to hit it. So
do you think that social media and the internet has made it harder or easier?
that's a really good question. I think it's made it a whole lot better and a whole lot easier for people in our business to be out there, to get exposure, okay, to literally record a song and get it out worldwide. If you go to some of these particular platforms, what it hasn't, or what it the negative part, I guess, if you could say that, is what people think is a star, or that have star quality. There isn't. Um, it kind of, in a way, that social media has compromised what a true legend, as it used to be, or a very, very good person in their industry, is convoluted with that. So it really is up to the public to say, well, they're good and they're not, that kind of a thing. But it's a two-edged sword.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that I agree with you. I think it has its good things of getting more exposure all over the world, but then there's that negative side too of, I don't know, people can be tough anyway, tough judges.
Well, it's true. Overall, I think the social media thing, as far as it applies to our industry, is good, because even the older established traditional artists, as an example, from the 70s, 80s, 90s, even, are getting an opportunity to get back out there in a really good way. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, it is. It is. Well, now your bio says that by 1993 you earned feature billing in numerous NFL videos alongside, I know it was a lot of greats like Lori Morgan, Alan Jackson, was it Clint Black? There was so many listed there on your bio. Tell me a little bit about those videos, because I don't even know what that means when you say numerous NFL videos.
Yeah. Let me just tell you how fate works sometimes, and how the Lord puts people together. I worked for NFL Films for a long time, almost 8 years. And one of the producers of NFL Films, Bob Smith, whenever the Broncos, because that's here in Denver, that's where I worked, was at Mile High Stadium as an assistant cameraman and loader with my good buddy Sam Allen. We would do all the home games. But when the Broncos went to the playoffs, of course, all the big wig producers would come into town, and we would those games were very big. Well, I had heard that Bob Smith, who I became very good friends with, I heard that he liked country music. So one day on a Sunday for this playoff game, I brought I brought a cassette at the time of 4 of my songs that I had recorded in Nashville. And I just told him, I said, Bob, I hear you like country music. Maybe you'd like to listen to mine. So he said, sure, I'll take a listen. So a couple of days later, he called me back or called me up and said, man, he says, he gave me some very nice compliments and really, really liked my music. And he said, do you mind if I hold on to this? It might be something we could do with it. I said, well, sure. So I think it was a few months later that he called me and he said, look, he said, we're doing a compilation video called NFL Country. And we're taking big country artists and their their songs, and we are putting them together with football footage from the NFL, from great games, and we're putting country music with football footage, and we're doing this video. And he said, I'd love to use one of your songs. I said, sure. So that became very successful. As a matter of fact, Billy Ray Cyrus was the first narrator of that first video, and that actually was a very top video of the time. And so to make a long story short, Bob ended up doing 2 more videos like that and using 2 more of my songs. So I had 3 songs alongside of the people you mentioned, Hank Jr. and Lori Morgan and all the hitters of the day. And then back then, little Joey Canyon was on those as well. So that really gave me big exposure, big back in those days. And what was even better was Dwight Yoakam and I were the only 2 artists that had a song on each video, 3 songs. So Dwight and I were in company together. So
That's awesome.
yeah, that was a big boost for my career at the time. Very, very big boost. And I've always been very grateful to Bob for that.
Oh, I bet. That is a great boost. God is good. That's pretty amazing how that came together. So,
well, even to take it a little bit further, I'm waiting to get a call back from Bob because he produces some things these days. He's not with NFL Films anymore, and I'm wanting him to do some things with Canyon Star Network. So he did me a favor. Now I'm going to do him a favor. So.
oh, wow. Well, I think that's awesome. I'm glad you made that connection. It's really kind of serendipity how this whole world works, So
yeah.
yeah, and the internet has made that even better as well. Now, you are also a voiceover artist. Can you explain to the viewers what this is?
That's probably the smallest part of my my career. A voiceover artist would be one that you could watch a commercial and hear a voice in the background talking through the commercial. That's a voiceover.
Uh-huh.
Or you can be pretty much, if you watched any documentaries such as Ken Burns' documentaries, has many voiceovers of actors and things like that narrate through his documentaries. So that would be a voiceover artist. And I want to do more of that. I find it a real great tool to bring forth what you're trying to convey on film. And if you get the right voice to do the right thing, it really makes it happen. So.
Yeah, well, I think that's another really would be a fun experience. So it would be to me. So
it is. It really is. So
yeah. So I'm curious now. When you write a song, does the melody come first for you? Lyrics.
Never heard that before.
I know, because I don't know. I always wonder how people do this, and everybody says something different.
Yeah. I'm
You
gonna
hear?
give you my answer, and it's
Okay.
and what it is for me, because it's probably the same with as I know so many writers and everything that I work with and do. Um, it comes both ways. As an example, I may be sitting around playing my guitar and just come through some chord progression or something like that, and start making up things, and all of a sudden I'm going, wow, that really has a nice melody. It really has a nice flow, very harmonic, and I'll just start doing that over and over and again, and then I'll have at least the basis uh, for a song musically, and then sometimes I'll be just playing my guitar or whatever, or I'll be sleeping like I've done in the middle of the night and wake up with a lyric. May or may not be a title, but something I write down because it really has a nice punch to it. And then I'll get up or I'll get to my guitar, and with this one line, we'll grow a song. I don't know what the music is yet, but I'm messing around with it and just kind of singing this lyric or that I came up with. So uh, it comes both ways, uh, and you're just happy that if it's good enough that it came
Yeah.
musically or lyrically, you know. So
Well, do you play any other instruments beside the guitar, or just
uh, no, I play guitar.
okay?
I
Okay.
can't. I would have liked to have learned some piano or keyboards, but I didn't get there. I let the really good people do that.
Well, you do enough already. What's your favorite song that you've written so far, and why?
The favorite song I have written is generally the one I'm working on.
Okay.
Okay. Now I do have my favorites from the past years that are, that I've recorded that are on my work. But generally, the one I'm working on is my favorite for the moment. And uh, I've written two within the last 6 months that I'm very excited to record. One of them is autobiographical, called "Here I Am." It's a country Christian song, and the other is called "When She Scoots a Little Closer to Me." Um,
Oh,
Totally country, of course. And then the other one I was asked to co-write with my dear friend, actress Greta Blackburn, and she came up with some lyrics, sent them to me, and said, "Can you put music to this?" And I said, "Well, let me take a look at it." And so I looked at the lyrics, made a few additions and there, and then I came up with the music. And that is, it's a wonderful song called "It's Never Too Late," and it's about people in their older years, 50s, 60s, 70s, that have found love again.
oh,
And it's a
that's
very, very touching song that she wrote, and that I'm happy to be a co-writer on. So
oh, well, I think that's a nice story behind it. To
it is a story. It's a great story. The song's really got some traction. It's going to be fun to record.
well, throughout your career, Joey, have you had I call them mentors, but people, any go-to people that because we all need kind of a mentor to kind of keep pushing us along, or someone we go to talk to when we're getting discouraged or we need advice or whatever the mentor is there to do. Have you had people like that, or?
You know, I'm I I mean, my go-to person is the Lord, really. Um, that I say without reservation. But I have some wonderful friends that are fans. Okay, that are always have always encouraged me, always loved my music, that always helps a ton. I would say my producer Curtis Stone has always been there with me and always believed in me since 1976 when he started. When I was young, very young, he started producing me, and you have to understand, in the mid '80s, he hit it big time with as being a founder of Highway 101. He was the bass. He is the bass player for Highway 101. And even during those times of his big time uh, uh, hits and things with Highway 101, he still had time to produce me. He still took time and said, "Sure, let's get in there." You know, when he was off the road, we'd go record. And so I've just had a number of people that have been a real blessing for me, encouraging me. But my number one, the Lord has always been there for me.
Well, that's a good number one, I think.
Pretty
Sure.
good.
Yeah. Well, then, what are some of your influences or people who've inspired you, famous singers that have inspired you?
You know, I've always, through the years, they change. It changes a lot. I mean, I was a huge Waylon Jennings fan when nobody was. Uh, Marty Robbins for sure. Vern Gosdin was big, big. I really loved Vern Gosdin. Um, and then gets up into the Alan Jacksons, the Randy Travises, the Clint Blacks. I really like Mark Chestnut during his time. So I've had a lot of influences, and then some not even in country music, like I said earlier on in this when we were talking. But I'm influenced by a lot, and now I find from some very kind people that people are influenced by me, and that really is a very humbling compliment. So
That is. That is definitely, and that's wonderful to hear
it,
people say
it
that.
is. It really is.
Yeah.
It's something else. Yeah.
Well, you've had numerous awards. Is there one that you're most proud of, or that's more sentimental to you than the others? Or
Yeah. There's one back on the wall there. Uh, in 2019, the Independent Music Network presented me with Entertainer of the Year. That really was a humbling uh, experience to get there, to believe that there are people that thought I was good enough to be Entertainer of the Year, and kind of hard to talk about. So
yeah. Oh, well, that's a great honor.
yeah.
Yeah, that really is. Well, would you say that I know this is I probably know the answer to this, but I don't know, maybe not. Do you enjoy being in the studio and the recording part more, or do you more enjoy the live performances?
You know who Dan Fogelberg is?
Yeah.
Well, I kind of take it from one of his songs. He says that the audience was heavenly, but the traveling was hell. I never liked the road. I liked being in front of the crowd and performing.
Uh-huh.
I never cared for the road because creatively it stagnated me. I never wrote. I never was very creative on the road because I was either sleeping, eating, or performing, and that was that. So these days, I really have a perfect world for me. I have my television show, and that allows me to perform every episode, and I don't have to go on the road for that. And really, I can be more creative and do things. So that kind of is my stock answer.
Yeah, no, that's a good answer. That's great. That's great. And I want to talk about your show because I'm curious as how did you transition into becoming a television host of your own show, the Joey Canyon Show?
I tell the story, and this is a true story.
Well, we like the truth.
Well, true is good. True is good. You don't need any fact checkers for this.
No,
Right?
I know.
I was sitting on the couch one day watching TV with the sound off, like I like to do, many artists do, and I'm actually pushing the remote trying to find something to watch, and there's hundreds of channels, and I just couldn't find anything, so I just tossed the remote on the couch and I just said, Lord, can somebody produce a program that's worth watching these days? And his voice to me was, he said, you're going to do it. And I just, kind of paused there. And he said, you're going to do it and I'm going to help you. That was the birth of the Joey Canyon Show. And it took me a few years, but I put it together, and that's how the Joey Canyon Show became to be. I absolutely loved it because I didn't have to do clubs. I could just do my show, and so it was a wonderful world to be able to do that. So,
what do you like most about it?
The creative process, the the first year was a blessing and very tough. I'd never done a TV show before. I worked in television. I worked in production. I mean, I knew how to put things together. So I just kind of sat and formatted it. And, it just all pretty much came together. It was, I learned a lot of lessons, which you do when you do for the first time. And that was that.
Well, who did you reach out to once you had the idea? Because it sounds like it wasn't something you sat around and dreamed about for years. It just came to you watching television.
I certainly reached out to a few people. Reached out to a friend of mine that was a director, and he kind of helped me in certain areas. And then other people in the production business that I knew.
Uh-huh.
Producers, camera people, all of that. But I pretty much knew what the format was going to be and how that was going to happen. I just didn't, I had to reach out to many different people on the technical part. I went to Comcast, which had a production arm called Westworks, and they were the ones that I used, almost 40 men and women crew for my show. And they were extremely helpful in every part of it. So I had a lot of help from them, which was very, very, I'm very grateful to this day. And with the coming of my show starting up again, I will take a few of them to Nashville to work on the show. So,
well, that's really great. So, I mean, I think that's exciting that you were able to do all that. But you've done directing as well, right? Didn't I read that? Yeah.
Right. I co-directed my first music video back in 1990 when everybody was shooting on a video format. We shot my video on 35 millimeter. So that was a big deal back then, big deal. And the video, actually I wore so many hats. I scripted it, I starred in it, I storyboarded it, co-directed it, everything you can think of. But that was an 18-man crew for just a video. So
That's a lot, though. That's a big project, I think.
yeah.
So, yeah. So you've learned a lot. So tell me about your shows moving to Nashville, and will this be better all around for you in the show, or what? Will the
Yeah,
format?
when I shot the first season here in Denver, actually the first season and a half, I would fly in artists from Nashville, put them in a nice hotel, feed them, so on and so forth, and they do the show, jump on the plane, and go back. So that was a very good for having great people on the show, but it wasn't cost effective for the most part. but
Yeah.
but I bit the bullet because I wanted to do that. I wanted to do that, and it made my show very successful to do that. So now that I'm moving to Nashville, particularly Goodlettsville, actually, and I'll be about 20 minutes from the studio. I'll be shooting my show there, and I would say 90% of the people that will be on my show live in and around Nashville, and that will be wonderful. Just a little car drive to the studio. Yeah. So.
So do you have to pay them to be a guest, or they just?
No, they just like to be on my show.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Which is a blessing, really. Yeah.
It is. I know, and you won't have to fly them there. And but I understand why you did that. I really did.
Well, and it's worth it. And I believe me, I take care of them first class because they deserve it.
Yeah, they do. They do, and you do. So.
Well, thanks a lot.
Yeah, and will the format change at all when you move, or you
No, it's really successful with the way we have it. Basically, it's fairly simple. The first part, when we're shooting, I sing a song. I'm the first one to sing a song. Then I introduce my guests, and they end up singing 3 songs. And then I have a special guest of my choosing. Could be anything. I mean, I've had all kinds of different people on, from a man who collects saddles to well, one of the things that I'm very proud of is that every 3rd episode I bring on a person or charity or foundation that is helping other people. So that will always stay there. And so I could just I've had artists on. I've had people that were wine connoisseurs and whatever I think is pretty cool. And that's what I'm going to be doing when I move to Nashville, is to be on the lookout for very interesting types of things, very different things and people and whatever it could be. If I find it pretty interesting, people generally kind of think so too. So
yeah, well, that's good.
Yeah, I'll keep it the same way. So
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, and then of course we interview the artists after their singing part's over, and we just sit there and sit on the couch and chair and just kind of kick back and just have a conversation.
Yeah. Well, that's good. And I know you like that part.
I do.
I've read your testimonial, so everybody seems to like you. So.
Well, they're wonderful, and I'm grateful to them very much. So.
That's good. Good. Now I'm curious, how have you handled this pandemic shutdown? What have you done during this time? How have you stayed positive and?
From the onset, I thought it was going to go this way for a period of time. And I really, much like I used to do playing baseball as a pitcher, I would put my game face on and getting focused that morning. I knew I was going to pitch, or the morning I knew I had a show to do, and I was singing with a band or a duo or myself or whatever. I would get focused. So I just did this in a bigger way, and really working on the network and getting it to get off the ground here. Really, I just have been home. I would have sporadic meetings outside my office here, which is here, but all I did was change it to Zoom meetings and telephone calls, and I didn't do much traveling, of course. I haven't been to Nashville for almost a year with my last time there since this thing hit. So I really put my blinders on, did a mindset and said, let's just ride this out. While we're riding this out, let's get all this work done for the network. Let's get this thing happening, and then it'll change. It'll turn around. So that's how I've done that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just didn't let any negative stuff really get into my thought process. So.
Yeah, and that's good. Did it inspire you in any way to write songs, or did you just focus more on what you were saying?
Like I said, I wrote a couple of songs in the last 6 months or so.
Yeah.
But really, when your business mind is going, you know, I'm very fortunate enough to be able to put my creative side part on the side for a little bit and let my business part do what it needs to do, and then I needed to kind of just take a little bit of a break, and that's when I was writing and when I could do that. So.
Yeah. Well, of all the different, because you do so many different things, I'm curious as to what all the things you've done in your career, what would you say you enjoy the most doing?
Well, a few things, I guess. I've always loved recording. I've always loved, from the very moment that we lay tracks down till I do my vocals, and then we do the harmonies, and then we mix it and master it. I've always loved building a song and making it work. And of course, I've always loved to sing. But I would just very much the creative process of television and music and anything else creative, that's what I really love to do. So.
Right. Yeah. I understand. I like the creative part. I don't like the business part. I can make myself do it, but.
Hey, listen, years ago, I didn't like the business part either, but you know what? If you want to be successful these days, and you want to be smart about it, because you really, at the onset, and I mean at the beginning, not later on, but at the onset, you've got to control everything. You really have to control everything, and you really have to know the business. You want to protect yourself, so you need to know every facet of business, and then you need to bring in people that you can believe in will do right by you to take over those positions of trust. But you really need to know business in the entertainment industry, whether it be production or whether it be music or television. You really need to know it, and it'll give you peace of mind as well, knowing that everything is pretty much right. You know, you've got things right, and when you don't, you'll be able to recognize what is wrong and how to correct it. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with you. And for me, that's the hardest thing, is kind of relinquishing that, let go of that control once you want to bring someone in. That's the hardest part, because it's a trust thing, like you said.
It's a process, and you've got to listen. You have to listen, to your head and your heart. But most of all, you got to have discernment and listen to him. He'll tell you who's right and wrong.
Yeah. Exactly. You're right. Well, how is it for you to balance all these different things that you're doing, like, and juggling all these different, you've got the show and then songwriting and now the network. Is that, and because other people might be doing this just like me. What kind of advice how do you do it, and what kind of advice do you give?
Well, I don't give advice, but I'll give suggestions.
Okay.
And I don't give advice. When you give a suggestion, you let the other people make up their own mind.
Yeah.
Really, if you know what you want to do, and I knew I wanted to do this television network, and we'll get into why I did it, but you have to know the different facets of everything involved with a network, from legal to production to radio that we'll have to all of these different things. So you could see a corporate chart, and as it works on down, you can see all the different things and all of that. Well, it's very important that you bring in the right people from legal to CPA to create some of that foundation, and then bring in your executive management that really can wear more than one hat. That's who I wanted. And that's why my president is Kelly Kantz. She's not only involved with programming and acquisitions and so on, but she knows how to buy and sell ads for the network, and these kinds. She'll be wearing different hats like I will. Those are very valuable people. So you have to really investigate. You have to really get out there and learn what are what are the various places, positions of a network, the departments of the network. What are all of those do, and what do they function, and who do you want in on all of those? So you really have to do. If you think you have to do homework, you got to do ultra homework and learn about all of those things, and then you've got to apply them by bringing in the right people. So that's just the very small nutshell of what you need to do.
Right. Well, I want to talk a bit about the network, and when did this project begin? Because I'm just curious how this all started, and also what it'll mean for it's a big project, what it'll mean for your show. And
yeah, it's a very, very big project, but I've never been fearful of anything like that. Back when my television show was on another network, I went from a half-hour show and I wanted to do an hour show. So they said, fine, you can do an hour show, but then they wanted to charge me an exorbitant amount of airtime fee. And I thought, you know what? I'm not going to do that. So people thought I was crazy, but I pulled my very, very successful television show off a nationally known network to start. And I thought, you know what? I just don't want to do my show. I want to produce and create other shows and do other things in the entertainment industry. And I can't do that by just doing my show. So that was the idea of starting my own network. And that was the beginning of a ton of work 3 years ago, a little over 3 years ago. And I was never afraid of hard work. I was never afraid of the enormity of this network. And so I just pulled my boots on and just started.
yeah, well, I want you to tell me, like, what's going to be different about Canyon Star Network?
Canyon Star Network will be, there's a couple other networks out there that deal with country music and things, but and I don't watch them because I'm doing other things, but I'm sure they're doing a great job. But I wanted to do more. The Canyon Star Network is a country Americana, wholesome family lifestyle brand. I want country music. I want events. I want original programming like my show. I've got 4 other shows that I'm going to produce already ready to go that will be, I know, famously successful. I want to do bring on the documentaries, the events, and everything that is country Americana for the most part. Anything that's into nostalgic movies and television,
Uh-huh.
okay, that people are really wanting to do. Um, I'm going to have the Canyon Star Radio channel, okay, and that is going to be headed up by a couple of very well-known radio people in country music that everyone will be familiar with. I also have the Canyon Star Shopping channel. That's going to be a smaller version of QVC and HSN.
Oh,
So it's going to have all of those things. So mine will be different because of the so many different diverse programming that we will have, and I know people will find it very, very interesting. And you know, we want to make a difference because we just don't see that wholesome family entertainment and programming out there anymore. And I'm bringing it big time. So
yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's great. So as far as music on there, it's all country. So,
it's going to be, yeah, it's going to be all country. I'm kind of just thinking of some things of how far out I want to get with the music. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I have some ideas, but I'll wait before I tell you about them.
okay, that's fine. That's fine.
It'll be
So,
good.
huh?
It'll be good.
Yeah. So, like, if someone, let's say you have someone come to you and they want to be on they want to have a show. Is that, or do you go out and seek, or will someone come to you for looking for
Well,
a?
first of all, we'll have our own. I have my own production company that will produce um, our the selective shows that I want to do for the network.
Right.
I am completely open for producers or directors that have produced some programming, some content that, if it follows our stringent guidelines of watchable material content,
Yeah.
then I'm open to either acquiring it or cutting a deal with them to air it on the network. Yes. I'm open for anything as long as it meets the quality, like I said, and our test of what is worthy of our network.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, where will it be distributed? Because I think a lot of people like me don't understand how all these big networks work, like Netflix and all this.
Well, yeah, it's not going to be hard to find. The Canyon Star Network will be worldwide. It'll be global. We will be on all the big platforms as well. We'll be on over 100 platforms, including Amazon, Google, Netflix. All of those things will be available to Amazon Fire. I don't know every single one of them, but Comcast, all of that. So.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool.
So
And
I struck this distribution deal about a month ago, of this global distribution deal, which was a very big deal for us.
yeah, well, I mean, I think it's exciting. And then, what would you say is the most special thing about your network that'll attract the viewers over others? I guess other.
Well, I think that when they subscribe to the Canyon Star Network, they will have such a lineup of programming that they will just not get tired of watching. We will continue on a daily, weekly basis of bringing in programming all the time from A to Z of what I talked about. Of course, our television, my TV show, and the others will have new episodes every week. So they'll want to come for the wholesome family entertainment and the events that we'll be doing, the great interviews with actors and actresses and country musicians and artists, and just, even venues. We'll take people to various places around Nashville, and we'll have we'll do a lot of MOS, man on the street, woman on the street. These are people that, I will bring into the network as reporters, if you will, or interviewers that we will send out and say, hey, let's go do a story on that, and
Yeah.
here, bring this producer with you, and this is what I'm looking for, and just go. And so they'll come to our network just because of the variety and the various flavors of television that they can watch.
It sounded like you were wanting something. I read you were wanting more, well, like wholesome movies too,
Oh, yeah.
like
Yes.
kind of like that Hallmark movie, less violence, and is that?
Oh, yeah, exactly. Just the wholesome family entertainment. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
absolutely.
And what's your long-term vision that you would like to see? Do you have that in place yet, or just?
I have it in place right here of what I want to do. We feel that the Canyon Star Network will be famously successful. We believe we'll be $1 billion network in 5 years. That's my goal. That's my personal goal, is to do that. And once we do, I know that the larger concerns out there will come calling, and they'll want to buy the network. And that's what, believe it or not, that's when the real work comes, because I will sell the network. Depending on what my percentage of that sale will be, I'm going to take the majority of that money, and I'm forming a foundation to help other people. That's what I want to do. So I will be helping individuals, I'll be helping charities, I'll be helping foundations with my foundation. So that's what I want to build.
Oh, but that's a great dream. That's a great plan, I think. So,
That's my ultimate goal, is to build his kingdom. So
yeah, that's
help,
great.
help
Do you
build.
think it'll be hard to let go of the network though after you build it and then sell it? Is that?
I don't know. You never know. I may sell it and start another one. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
I have no clue. I don't know. I may end up keeping my show. I don't know. I have so much fun doing it. So
I know. Well,
that's the overall big goal that I have. So
yeah.
the other stuff we'll just have to see.
Oh, yeah. Well, as you've thought a lot about this, how can people invest, and what will this investment mean for each investor?
Well, of course, it's no different than people that are familiar with investing. That early in, you get the best deal because the stock right now is sitting at $5. We have a very large projected return on investment. So when people go to CanyonStarNetworkInvest.com, they can see the whole campaign there, a place to call in and talk to somebody about investing and so on. They can read about all of the necessary material that an investor will be looking for: a tear sheet, a pitch deck, our private placement memorandum, also our company manifesto, which I think is very important. You can read about and see our management team, and also lots of testimonials from the stars and other significant people that believe in the network and myself and everything that we're doing. So I encourage those that want to get in early to go to CanyonStarNetworkInvest.com to take a look and see if this is something they'd like to do. This week we started the investment campaign. We are out on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Google. So you'll see our ads for Canyon Star Network, and you can it'll take you right where you want to go to explore and investigate more about becoming a partner with us in the network.
And I'll have your links under. They'll be under this YouTube video. You know, it'll stay there on the replay. So that'll.
Sure, that would be great.
Yeah. So they're there now. So when you go back to the YouTube video, which I'll send you the link.
Thank you.
You know, they'll see all that. But you know, Joey, the world's changed so much now, and I know it's kind of crazy right now, and it's not all been for the good. Hopefully things will turn around, but and also there seems to be no limit as to what people put out there anymore. And do you think CSN is going to make a big difference in what's in the entertainment world and what we're currently seeing? Because I mean, I know I pay attention to what people say on social media. I hear what they're saying, and they have concerns about the no limits on anything that we see. So is that something that you want to make a change in as well with your?
We want to make a change, and we will. But actually what we're doing is we're not doing anything different by way of producing good things. All right. I guess you could say that all we want to do is maintain a positive, encouraging programming, family network programming. We're not bringing it back. We're just not letting it go. Okay?
Yeah.
We're just adding to it and just letting people know that, hey, guess what? Things around the world may be changing, but we're not. You can still come to the Canyon Star Network and get all you want of good, wholesome programming and more and more. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to maintain our foothold and produce wonderful things people will be proud to watch.
Oh, that's great. If there are people out there that, and we know how they call to invest, but if they're wanting to bring an idea to you, if there's somebody watching this episode, do they contact you through that same website, or?
Really, for that's just really for investors for the most part.
Okay.
You know, there'll be a channel or a link. Actually, you could really go on to Facebook to the Canyon Star Network site of Facebook, and if you had a question or a comment, you can send it to me. Really, we're looking for content that it's not so much the they can ask me about the idea. Okay.
Yeah.
Would you like to see something that is about airplanes or is about this?
Yeah.
About I don't know. Well, tell me. We'll just ask for a treatment or an overview of it. So yeah, it looks good, but ultimately we're going to need a sizzle reel, and that would be somewhat of a 2 to 4 minute something they can produce that shows us what it is.
Yeah.
And if we think it's right, and if we think that they're shooting quality stuff and all that, we'll sit down and talk and say, okay, now what do you want to do? Do you want to sell it to us? Do you want us to air it? Do you want us to produce it? Whatever. So they can do that on Facebook through Canyon Star Network.
On your Facebook page, okay, yeah.
Yeah, on the Canyon Star Network Facebook page, and there's some place in there to comment, and we'll take a look at it. Absolutely, we welcome that. Mm-hmm.
Great. Well, what do you have? Things are looking. Sounds like you had the press release. Things are looking good. When do you think this is going to happen?
I get that question all the time.
I know.
I wish I had a specific date.
Yeah.
It's going to take a period of time for us to raise a certain amount of money where we can launch. So we're raising $7 million total.
Right.
We feel that $1 million or more, we could launch the network and things can start happening. And we believe after that happens that the balance of the $7 million will come in. So if $1 million came in the next 30 days, I could say that if it came in 30 days, it would take 3 to 4 months and we would be launched, because it takes a period of time to build the online presence of the network and put in all the working parts and everything. So
great. Well, that's great. Well, if there's anything that I can do to help too, anybody else?
Yeah, write me a check for $7 million.
Yeah, I know. I'll just send you that today.
Okay, great.
But if there's anybody else I can interview, anything to get the word out, you just let me know. But I'll definitely have all your links. They're already there, actually, under the YouTube video now. So.
Well, I want to thank you so much for having me on your show. That's very special for you to take an interest in what we're doing, and I'll probably have to have you on my show once we get rolling again.
Oh, God, I'd love to be there. That would be so. I've been to Tennessee once, and it was so long ago, and I think it was in like Chattanooga, but I've never been to Nashville. I think I'd love Nashville.
Well, we're gonna have to make that happen.
Yeah, that would be awesome, Joey. I'd like to see you work there.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, but thank you so much for being here, Joey. I mean, this has really been fun getting to know you, and I can feel your passion, and I'm really excited about your project, your network. I think this is going to be a really great thing, and I feel real good about it. I think you're going to be very successful when this gets launched.
Well, Tamarah, thank you so much again. You've been very gracious, and I'm grateful to have the opportunity to spend some time with you as well. So hope to see you again very soon.
Yeah, is there anything that we didn't cover that you want to mention that we didn't?
No, I think you're very thorough, very good. You do a very, very good job.
Oh, well, thank you. You're the expert, so thank you for that. Don't go away, Joey. I just want to thank the viewers for their continued support.
Sure.
And make sure you share the replay of this video on YouTube, and it's also on my social media pages. Make sure you share it on all your social media sites, because this helps me continue to celebrate Joey, and also helps spread the word of his of Canyon Star Network. And so we want to keep celebrating him and keep promoting him, and his website is CanyonStarNetwork.com, and you can go to CanyonStarNetworkInvest.com for investors. His music site is JoeyCanyon.com, and all these are under the YouTube video on my Tamarah's Closet YouTube channel. So you can find all this information there as well, and I'll probably put his Facebook pages there too. So I want you to join me again soon for more upcoming live interviews in Tamarah's Closet. Stay tuned, and to your own success, just keep on rocking it, and we'll see you soon. Take care.